Amazon MGM Studios presents Hedda, now nominated for a Film Independent Spirit Award for Best Lead Performance Tessa Thompson and Best Supporting Performance Nina Haas. The New Yorker calls it one of the best films of the year. Hedda is awards eligible in all categories and is streaming now on Prime Video. Hello, listeners and readers of AwardsWatch.com. This is the AwardsWatch Podcast, episode 326. I'm your executive editor, Ryan McQuade, and joining me today is your associate editor, Sophia Ciminello.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm feeling great. I'll really say, great because of the double G's.
I'm feeling really great because of the double G's tonight. We're talking Golden Globes. They just wrapped up in Los Angeles. Eric is at the parties. He's going somewhere tonight. I think he's going to celebrate with one of the big winners tonight. There's a ton of big winners here tonight. There's some losers, not in a mean way, just like people lost awards tonight. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot to discuss. Since the last time we were on, the DGA nominations came out, the PGA nomination came out, SAG nominations came out, the BAFTA long list, all this stuff has come out. So we will talk about that here in a minute, but we are going to talk right at the top of this episode. As the Golden Globes are just wrapping up, we're going to talk about what happened tonight. And it was, as expected, a big night for one battle after another. The front runner for Best Picture continuing to make its televised case that it is going to sweep this season. It won 4 big awards tonight. It won Best Picture, Musical or Comedy, and won Best Director for Paul Thomas Anderson, Best Screenplay. They don't have an adapted or an original one, but what the Globe said was the best screenplay overall of the year came from One Battle After Another, and it also locked up, or didn't lock up, but it locked up the win on the night that we were all very curious about, and it was the first award of the night, and that went to Tiana Taylor for Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture. Kind of stunning. A lot of people thought it was swinging to Madigan. Thought that would be the popular pick, but it really feels like we're going down to the wire with that race still going to be wide open, though Tiana Taylor, impressive speech to start the night, followed by Stellan Skarsgård getting a sentimental value win that's much needed after a bit of an up and down week for that film, I would say. Timothée Chalamet won musical comedy actor. He's 2 for 2 now. Rose Byrne winning comedy musical actress, and Jessie Buckley winning comedy or musical actress. But Sophia, the big film on the night came from the country of Brazil. 2 years in a row this has happened. The Secret Agent winning best international film, essentially there. I hate the way that they phrase it, not non-English language film. International film there, beating Sentimental Value, and It Was Just an Accident, Surratt, No Other Choice, in the voice of Henry Job, and Wagner Moura becoming the first Brazilian actor to win Best Actor in a Drama and making his case to be the Fernando Torres of 2025-2026 season. Lot I just threw out to you, Sophia. What stands out to you on this Globes night to start? We'll talk about the telecast in a minute, but of the winners, what stands out to you from this batch?
What really stands out to me is just One Battle After Another's continued dominance, right? It's an obvious place for me to begin, but I think we went in on the night thinking that it pretty much had Best Film, Comedy, or Musical sewn up. It led in nominations overall, and the next highest nomination getter in that category only had 3 total in Marty Supreme. So it was one of those where it just felt like, okay, this feels like something, or maybe it was Wicked for Good. This just feels like something where this is
it was probably Wicked because it had the box office and
box office as well.
2 actresses and the 2 songs.
And 2 songs, yes. So I think that this is one of those cases where we knew that was going to happen. We felt
Wicked
like
wasn't,
director.
Wicked wasn't nominated for picture. What are we talking about?
Oh, right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What am I even saying? I'm just
Arriva
so
wasn't
happy.
nominated at CCA,
Yes,
and
we're
it
just,
wasn't nominated here. It's
yes.
late at night, folks. We don't have a
It's
lot of
late.
caffeine. We're getting ready for bed, but we're doing this now so we can have this out
Anyway,
first thing in the morning. Anyway, continue. Sorry, Sophia. I didn't mean to
Anyway,
cut you off.
yes. So I think we thought that One Battle was winning there. Director felt like it was a pretty locked up, I would say. I mean, obviously I was nervous going in because that's just how I am. PTA is my favorite director, so I was going to be nervous. But then when he won screenplay too, I mean, that's a combined, like you said, combined category. And typically the winner of original or adapted, we do see winning there. Like if you think about Conclave won there, Anatomy of a Fall, that really got started there. An exception really was the Banshees of Inisherin, where Martin McDonagh won, but Kenneth Branagh won for Belfast. So there is a trend there that we have seen in the past few years where at least one of the screenplay winners emerges. And I really thought they were going to split it up. I thought that PTA was going to win director, but that this would actually go to one of the international features in a similar way that Anatomy of a Fall won. And maybe this was where sentimental value or it was just an accident would emerge as the favorite for that category or for international feature later on. But that didn't happen because The Secret Agent was so strong. I'll also point out, I think that one of the key stats and trends that I was really paying attention to in predicting the Globes and really thinking about my predictions today was that over the past few years, the film winners always bring an actor along with them. So I saw a lot of people predicting One Battle After Another, but no acting wins for it, or Sinners with no acting wins for it. And that's just not what this group likes to do, which is why I thought, okay, maybe it's Sentimental Value or Hamnet or The Secret Agent that's going to get that because the only case of that really in recent memory happening was with The Fablemans, and that was, I think, a really strange year at the Globes. But Tiana Taylor, I thought, gave a great speech, and that race, I think, is one of those, along with supporting actor, that is going to be really up and down maybe throughout the season.
I think what's so interesting about the supporting categories is also obviously some of the information that we got, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But we can mention one thing is that like Stellan Skarsgård's win to me tonight, which I kind of felt we thought that One Battle After Another was going to, if it was going to win something, would win Benicio del Toro. Kind of feels that that's starting to be a little bit more of a critics thing, and
Hmm.
that it might be Stellan. Who knows? But it's not going to happen at SAG.
Right.
And what's so interesting about everything in the calendar is SAG is going to matter a ton this year, like BAFTA mattered a lot last year, because
Hmm.
as the voting is going on, the voting ends the week, like during the middle of the week after the SAG awards are handed out. So any last second voting on the Oscars in these tight races is
Hmm.
we'll already have the BAFTA winners, so we won't have to
Right.
worry about that. But for Oscar noms, we won't have the BAFTA nominees. So that'll be very interesting there. If people miss there, but they're at BAFTA, just wash out BAFTA and does SAG help us out along with the rest of the guilds. But obviously, there's one film that's going to do well and has done well across the board, and that's One Battle After Another. And I'm right there with you, Sophia. This whole week has been a continued effort to try to um, make the front runner not the front runner. And certain, publications moved One Battle After Another out of their top best picture spot for Sinners. And listen, Sinners is a great film. It's in my top 10 of the year. You know how much I love that film. People know how much I love that film. I've talked to Ryan Coogler multiple times in person, literally interviewed him on this website so everybody can get off my ass, online about me wanting Paul Thomas Anderson, my favorite director of all time, to finally get his. No, nothing would please me more than if, Ryan Coogler won in a different category, like original screenplay, which just seems to be very wide
Which
open.
still feels like it can happen.
It's
That
still
still feels very likely.
absolutely, because one would make the argument if sentimental value had the momentum in a category like that, like a Anatomy of a Fall comparison that we made on the last episode,
Hmm.
he would have won tonight, and he didn't. The only thing that sentimental value won, which I believe it was nominated for 7 Golden Globes, was Stellan Skarsgård, which is a great win. but it means kind of nothing going, like he could, as of right now, it doesn't help us because he wasn't nominated at SAG and he's longlisted at BAFTA. He most likely will get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. So maybe it's Globe, BAFTA, Oscar, definitely on the board, but doesn't feel 100% right when that movie doesn't have, it seems like a ton of passion everywhere else. And if a movie like The Secret Agent is exploding up to the top, but one battle after another, and I've just been known, this is how I don't know, Sophia, this is how I do things. This is how I've been taught to do things in this world. But if there have been wins on the board on televised events, and those wins were for the movie in frontrunner status, then you don't change anything until things have changed. And things started to change a lot this week, and there was no rhyme or reason to it. And then,
No.
and there doesn't need to be. This movie is extremely popular. People love this thing. This isn't an annoyance. This isn't a thing you could say if it wins a category that it's, something got snubbed over it. It is one of the films of the year. And if it wins awards, it's very well deserving. And they showed a side of strength, just like CCA, just like the guilds have, just like critics groups have. This movie is on its path to be like Oppenheimer in a lot of ways, where it got coronated tonight. You can just feel it. This is done. It's PTA's time, and everybody's okay with it because they love this man. He's been nominated 11 times. I don't see him not walking away without a couple of trophies in his hands. That was the big tell of the night, is that they just carried over that momentum from CCA over to the Globes 1 week later. I feel like that's just going to continue.
And importantly on that point too, is that the Globes voters didn't know the CCA results when they voted.
That's the other thing.
So these are independently voting groups that didn't know each other's
And
results.
isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it's great. And they both came to the conclusion that this movie deserved to win and that PTA is really, I think, the man of the season. Really, it's just like you can feel it some award seasons where it's like, okay, it's his season, it's his time. We've had that plenty of times, I think, in history, and I'm happy to feel like it's finally time for PTA.
He gave some really great speeches. I thought Tiana Taylor's speech was very emotional, and yes, it was on a paper, but you could still feel the emotion, the surprise, the appreciation, and how much love she has for PTA, for her One Battle family. That was big on the night. I have to say, the Hamnet win is a big one we have to talk about because you and I talked about this off mic, maybe a little on mic, but this is a big win. This is huge because at the time of this night, we had a second place film and it was surging, and that was Sinners. And it wins score and the Cinematic Box Office Achievement Award, which I'm going to give him praise to it. Josh Parham tweeting out a phrase that I was going to use on this show. So Josh, love you. You're getting a shout out on this episode, which is the kiss of death. We've seen it the last 2 years that this award has existed. It went to Barbie, and then it went to Wicked, Part 1. It has now gone to Sinners, and in that same time span since it got that award, Sinners did not pick up a single rest of the award on the night. Hamnet wins Jessie Buckley, and then Hamnet wins Best Picture. My school of thought, and I want to get your thoughts on it, is if you do not have a consensus number 2 on take all the critics awards out. We're in televised mode now. We're in the guilds modes. We're in things where people see it on a screen. Hamnet just announced itself as a contender, and it has been a contender. It's been solid number 3. It's been number 2 for some people throughout the season. It was number 1 based off of its audience awards participation. But if it can't pierce the armor of One Battle in certain categories, but it is taking away wins from Sinners, that does not mean then that there is a cohesive number 2, right? And that therefore there is a cohesive number 1. And it feels like that's the infighting we talked about. This is the scenario, Sophia, that we mentioned where Hamnet wins this award, Sinners wins the box office achievement, and then everybody's sitting here until the next award show second guessing themselves because Chloe Zhao went up there and had a great speech. Steven Spielberg was up there and gave a great speech.
Yeah.
Jessie Buckley is going to sweep. She is going to win that Oscar. There is nobody else that is going to even come close to winning that Oscar this year. That's one of the most locked categories of the night, and going into Oscar night. So, your thoughts now on where we stand after
Yeah.
this win? It's a big win.
Yeah, it's a big win, and it's one that I know we toyed around with on our predictions episode for this exact reason. I remember saying, even though critics were a bit colder to Hamnet throughout the critics prizes, I mean, regional prizes, I think have gone to Jessie Buckley, but
Hmm.
those major critics groups haven't really been too fond of it. Well, that doesn't matter at the Globes always. Like, look at Amelia Perez last year. That was the example I used. And I think with Hamnet, what we have now is, I think, a fight for the runner-up position between Hamnet and Sinners.
Hmm.
Because I think that what I was expecting was that if Sinners got this box office achievement prize, it would take the Barbie Hall, which was the box office achievement prize, and then one of the music categories, because that's the exact same thing that happened with Barbie. And then they ended up losing to Poor Things, a film that had a win in an acting category.
Hmm.
Now, I mean, One Battle could have taken home another acting prize, but the acting categories are strange this year. I think there's a lot in flux there, but I mean, Hamnet winning here, I think right now what we're going to really see is just, what is stronger overall in the race. Something like Hamnet that has a lot of audience prizes from the festival season, that has a clear Best Actress frontrunner, or something that has a lot of passion in Sinners and could pick up some technical awards, but has never felt as strong to us in those acting categories.
No, it hasn't. I mean, the acting categories have been always the question mark for Sinners, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But going into the night, it's kind of the case for One Battle After Another is that, like, okay, it's going in on the night right now with director, editing, picture, and most likely can win three acting categories. It can. It's still in contention for supporting actor. It's definitely now in contention for supporting actress. And I still think Leonardo DiCaprio is still right there in a perfect position to win this award. I know that Timothy Chalamet won this tonight. These do not, we also have to remember a little bit also that this does not have voting crossover with the Academy. But if we're going to
Hmm.
make the comparisons of Wagner Moura being this year's Fernando Torres, well, last year, in that if that's the case, then Timothy Chalamet is Demi Moore, and Leonardo DiCaprio is Mikey Madison because he's in the Best Picture winner, supposedly, and she didn't win the Globe, Mikey, and neither did Leo, and Leo's still there, and potentially in a SAG Ensemble winner. It did very well at SAG. It won a SAG record of nominations. That's how, once again, something strong, and you don't take it out of Best Picture when it breaks a SAG record,
Hmm.
and not just breaks it, obliterates it. Like the next
Yeah.
film, like Sinners broke it as well,
Hmm.
but One Battle broke it by two more.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. And so, but I agree with you. I mean, like, you can't ignore the audience award wins that Hamnet has had. Regardless of what any publication tries to turn Hamnet into a villain or people who don't like it or whatnot, it is beloved in the industry. Chloe Zhao is an Oscar winner. She should get the same amount of respect that people are giving Guillermo del Toro. And for a film that is one of the critically best acclaimed films of the year, it has an Oscar walking out of the night. That is more than you can say for Sinners, because we just assumed based off of critics wins that they're going to get cinematography, but it lost Critics' Choice to
I think he'll
Trading
get
Dreams.
score. I do think that
Score
that
seems
one
to be locked
feels
in, but
locked. Yeah.
that's not one that's going to correlate. I mean, the Brutalist won score last year,
Yep.
didn't help its chances, even though it won cinematography and an acting prize. And so
Hmm.
it's very interesting. I do not think you can say that we have a race because, but I think if Sinners would have overcome everything tonight, losing all those acting wins, and losing picture and losing director to PTA, which clearly it would be that, but beat Hamnet straight up here and was still able to define and say we're the box office cinematic achievement award winner, we're the score winner, but through all that, showing the path that it's like it doesn't matter, we can still win picture. It didn't do that, and that's also it's like was it even second place because the secret agent did so well that
Hmm.
you kind of start thinking to yourself, and it was nominated in the category. You start thinking, was Sinners even second? Was it third? Because that Brazilian vote is big. That international voters, they love those films. Wagner
Hmm.
Moura, we all knew was going to win that award. It was a good speech. He needed that because he missed the BAFTA shortlist, which is once again just like Fernando Torres. He did not get
Hmm.
SAG either, just like Fernando Torres. So we will not see this matchup the rest of the year until the
Yeah.
Oscars. I don't think he's as strong as Fernanda, but still plenty of time with that category. Um, the other ones that were K-pop Demon Hunters one that's sort of solidified that feels like it's going to have those two wins already locked up ready to go
Hmm.
regardless of its BAFTA ineligibility. Those will most likely carry over. Sinners was off the telecast for its score for Ludwig Göransson. Shameful, absolutely
Right.
shameful.
Such a shame. It's ridiculous with
And
especially what they chose to include instead.
well, speaking of that, I wanted to ask you about the telecast.
Yeah.
um I know that CBS has been taken over in a merger, but this is 2 years in a row now. We've had maybe the worst Golden Globe telecasts in recent memory. I don't mind the setup. I think the setup's
Hmm.
fine. Of like how the room looks,
Right.
but
Like the tables. Yeah.
I truly think this was and CBS, who puts on a good show for the Grammys every year. I would
Hmm.
argue maybe the best show outside, even sometimes better than the Oscars because they're a celebration of music and they get it. This was terrible tonight.
Yeah.
It
It
was
was.
awful, right?
Yeah, it was. And I think what made me so irritated is that you have the secret agent team. Their moment is cut from the Critics' Choice Awards. They get their award on the carpet there. And then here,
They don't even
the
give a
only
speech on the
time,
carpet.
right, the only time someone is they try to play someone off with music is when Kleber Mendoza Filho is speaking. And why is that the time? And you're playing him off so then you can have this weird, bizarre moment with these two UFC fighters coming on stage. What was that all about? They weren't even presenting. They were just
Well, I
there, and
know
then
what
we
that was
cut to
about. You know
the
what that
next
was about.
presenters. I know what it was about,
That
yeah,
was about
but
the what we're going to see on July 4th at the White House.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
You getting your tickets
CBS
for
of
that
it
one?
all.
You getting your tickets for that?
I think I'm gonna see the Odyssey instead. We'll do that.
That's
Um,
that's right. That's a good answer.
But yeah, no original score. I thought, and then if you're cutting a category and you're playing people off stage, those bits that you're doing better be pretty good. And I just thought, like, I don't know, the Marty Supreme Golden
She
parody
did a
app.
song last year, right?
She
Too,
did, yeah.
and that wasn't great then
Apatow
either.
speaking for like 20 minutes before, I swear, giving out Best Director and
I knew
then
you were going
making
to
a
get mad at
joke.
that. I knew you were
I
going to
was
get mad at that
so mad. It was
because
the
you were just
category
your
I was nervous
anxiety.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was anxious
I
and I
thought
just wanted to move on.
actually thought his monologuing was better than some of her monologuing.
Oh,
Nikki Glaser, who I actually liked last year, I thought she did a good
hmm.
job. I kind of it just fell somewhat flat.
Yeah.
Though I did like the bit about Leo. I did like the bit of the like three continuous jokes about Sean Penn. That was really good. But it didn't have the same bite as the year before. And then yeah,
Hmm.
there were like three planned bits that she had, and this show's already long enough as it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't need it. And I have to say, my issues run even bigger than this.
Hmm.
Um, Kevin Frazier and Mark Malkin speaking as these
Yeah.
people are walking up to the stage. I don't know if they can hear that in the room, but I can hear it at home, and it's terrible.
Hmm.
The anecdotes are like two drunk friends at a bar on the worst podcast ever live streaming the event. And it was awful, awful. Absolutely
Yeah.
just whoever thought of it, stupid idea.
Mispronouncing names of movies, just like the
Mispronouncing
bits
names
didn't
of
really make any
people.
sense.
They
Yeah.
didn't, and then the music choices.
Oh
Absolutely some
my
of the most
God.
wild shit I've ever seen. Stellan Skarsgård walking up to win Best Supporting Actor to Yeah by Usher, Little John, and Ludacris. Didn't think I'd have that on my bingo card this year, but I checked off the box and I'm ready to go.
My bingo card did not have hearing Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso while looking at Sean Penn, who looked like a leather handbag. Like that was not on my list, but it happened.
I did have the Heated Rivalry stars walking out to Pink Pony Club.
Well, that's
That's
low-hanging fruit.
that is on, but honestly, that's the one that makes the most sense. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I get it, but like, why didn't you just use like songs from the movies or
Hmm.
songs like Marty Supreme? Use some of that soundtrack. Use One
Yeah.
Battle.
Use Dirty Work.
Use
Yeah.
Hamnet's. Use that Max Richter track. Just play.
Use On the Nature of Daylight.
Exactly. Get everybody set the minute they walk to that stage. Like, for Sinners, played I Lied to You. Just do that. I mean, they did it for K-pop. They didn't have a
Hmm.
problem with K-pop. That's why it's so inconsistent. Because
Yeah.
when K-pop Demon Hunters won that and animated feature, they just played the K-pop song. It was so simple. I mean, I bet if you're nominated this year, you're probably so fucking sick and tired of hearing Golden at a certain point because it's such a catchy song. It's going to be
It's
stuck in your
so
head,
catchy.
for weeks. But it's appropriate to play that. So
Hmm.
I thought that was bad. I still think the GPSing
It's
is
so strange.
it's so stupid. Instead of playing clips, like play clips. Why are shows afraid of playing clips, Sophia? Why? I
They
don't
weren't for the podcast award.
don't even get me started.
I
I mean,
can't.
we don't have time for the
Good
podcast
Hang is a
award.
very good podcast,
I
though.
love
I do
Amy
like it.
Poehler.
It's
I
fun.
think she's great, but
But why?
that doesn't need to exist. The stand-up special one doesn't need to exist. I pretty much hated all the television awards because I'm just
Well,
tired of seeing the same
it's
things
just
over.
repeating.
It's really
Yeah.
annoying. Like I'm sorry. And listen, I know everybody loves the pit. I love the pit too. But like for God's sakes, like this is where I'm not gonna go all the way with it. But the old Globes used to give out new, fresh things that were out there, and it wasn't the same thing repeated over and over and over again. And in the
Hmm.
film awards, they were very predictive and very bought and weird. Television, on the other hand, it was like if you were new, you were getting something, or they
Glenn
spread
Powell for Chad Powers.
exactly. Glenn Powell would have totally been up there. Jacob
Yeah.
Elordi probably would have won for that limited series because he
The
was
Narrow
nominated for
Road to the
Frankenstein.
Deep North.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, Amanda Seyfried probably would have won over Michelle Williams, who wasn't even there.
Hmm.
But
No, you know who would have won that? Robin Wright for The Girlfriend. Like
okay.
that's an old Globes pick.
Okay, true, because that is a trashy show, and you explained that show to me.
Hmm.
We had lunch one day in LA, and Sophia explained to me the whole plot of that. Still, can't get it out of my head. The ending.
Hmm.
It's truly a curse show, but it's just the same copy and paste from CCA to to the Globes, like Adolescence, the studio,
Hmm.
the pit. Pray to God that it changes once we get to NBC. I mean, it will for some. We won't have Adolescence anymore. Not that again, these are not bad shows. It's just it gets
Yeah.
boring in the middle of those shows when the film awards are so exciting. There's tension.
'Cause
You're
they're
trying
brand
to figure
new,
them out because
yeah.
they're brand new. And the film is just like, hey, have you seen 3 shows this year? Well, you're in luck because those are the only thing that's winning.
Hmm.
Um, anything else you want to say about the Globes? Anything else?
I'm
Crazy.
just happy about one battle after another.
Let's talk about everything else. We can
Yeah.
put the Globes aside. We
Hmm.
won't have another telecast for like a month or
Yeah.
so. Like it's wild.
Hmm.
We'll have a lot of industry nominations, which have been going on. You can go to the website and see all the guilds. We're going to talk briefly about SAG, PGA, DGA, BAFTA long list. We're going to give some thoughts on that real quick. Well, DGA is easy. It was the five that we all said that it was going to be,
Mm-hmm.
which was Paul Thomas Anderson, Ryan Coogler, Chloe Zhao, Guillermo del Toro, and Josh Safdie.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidentally, that's the same five ensembles that are the best ensemble at SAG, which is
Yeah.
Frankenstein, One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme, Sinners, and Hamnet. The absolute rejection of international films at SAG. Sentimental
Oh,
Value blanked, not a
a
single
tragedy.
nomination.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Secret Agent, Novak Nomura. It was just an accident. There was no accident. They didn't nominate him. No other choice. They had other choices. Surratt, they blew other stuff up, just like their award season chances. You know,
Thank God.
all these. What I'm saying is that, and I think people have to remember this about SAG: the nominations are done by a selective group, randomized and picked for the voting. When it comes to the wins, then it opens up to the entire thing. It's very
Mm-hmm.
much like the Academy, where the Academy, the actors will vote for the actors in their branch, and some of those might be international, some of those might be here. Who knows? But then when it goes to the final wins, then everybody gets to vote on it. Um, Anything crazy at SAG you want to talk about that you were
It's
shocked
really
by?
just not really many shocks. It's just the omission of sentimental value, which feels like, I don't know, such a movie that actors would like. But clearly, I mean, this is a guild where you do always have to be careful when international films are on the table. It's rare that they go for them. And what I just kept thinking of was, wow, Amelia Perez must have been so strong last year to get in at DGA and SAG in the way that it did before Carla just went and took a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood flamethrower to that entire campaign. But yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of it was what was expected. I think like for me, Sinners and One Battle After Another were always going to be the strongest films with SAG and being able to get the most nominations. Interesting, I think that Miles was able to get in over Delroy Lindo. I think that was something people had been talking about. But then if you look at the BAFTA long list, Delroy Lindo is there and he's the one. So we could have a little, I think there's a little bit of confusion maybe in who to go with from that film and what we might see when it comes to nominations on the morning. But I think also Frankenstein, super strong,
so strong.
getting into stunts and SAG ensemble there. And supporting actor continues to be interesting because tonight's winner is not there.
Yep.
So if Stellan's not there, is Jacob Elordi going to be a thing for them? Does that, leave room for one of the One Battle After Another men to win there? I think it could. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think also because this year, like you said, SAG and BAFTA will both have their results they'll both be out ahead of or within the voting window.
Hmm.
So, they'll both have an impact, unlike last year.
I will say this though: if the same winner is SAG and BAFTA, though, then your money's just
Oh,
go
yeah,
there, go that way.
of course. Yeah.
Um, like if it's Del Toro or
Hmm.
Paul
Those
Mescal,
are the
you know,
the
or
industry
Sean
picks.
Penn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not saying that Paul Mescal's going to win. I'm just saying like he's seeming most likely every day to be one of the locks to get in. So it would be like
Hmm.
Mescal, Elordi, Penn, Del Toro, and then that last spot presumably is still in Sarsgaard.
Hmm.
But that's where you can, if you're out there in the world, probably tossing and turning a Delroy Lindo nomination. There's still like the three people still hanging on the line for Adam Sandler.
Hmm.
Miles Caton.
Yeah.
There's some trickery to be had there. That's for sure.
Hmm.
I think one of the categories that we can talk about, as we're going to next week's episode, will be our final Oscar predictions, and we will be thinking about those literally all week, and trying to take in as much theorizing on our text threads as possible here. Is actress and where those five spots are going to go.
Hmm.
Renata not being in the five there at SAG throws a huge wrench in all this because you kind of just figured she was safe along with Jesse. She's on the BAFTA long list. The film, the film is quote unquote strong international. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, internationally it
Mm-hmm.
is. Uh, Evidently not enough here in the
Mm-hmm.
States. So yes, I was going to bring this up to you. I was just like, where was Amelia Preston? like we were so close to having that if she didn't screw it
We
up.
really
We really
were. We
were.
really
But
were.
that puts in, I think, perspective, sentimental values place in all of this is
Mm-hmm.
that it really has to be carried by an international block more than an actually, the American block of the
Mm-hmm.
of the Academy. And Sophia had, and this is not calling you out. I'm not. We're friends here. But Sophia,
Okay.
we've talked about the possibility of like what sentimental value's role in all of this is. And
Uh-huh.
you were mentioning, I think, like a poll about like directors were saying that it's like
Yes.
their second best. Well, the actors just made it clear that they're either not watching it or they're not
Mm-hmm.
responding to it, which
Yeah.
which is big for it in maybe not in other categories, but definitely there. I still think that
Mm-hmm.
it'll get 3 noms
Yeah.
in those
Yeah,
categories,
it's
but that's tough now to say that without a blank in SAG is rough. It is
yeah.
a massive signal that and also if anybody was gonna get nominated for sentimental value, you would have thought I would have been just Elle Fanning then at that point because she's the
Right.
American and all
Or
this,
even Stellan. I mean,
or
he has
even
so
just
much
Stellan. He has
crossover
with
TV.
Andor and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
no, for sure. And this is the movie that you know, take a grain of salt all you want with who won
Mm-hmm.
the Palme d'Or. I'm starting to just feel like because it was just an accident is falling apart left and right.
Yeah.
Jafar Panahi not having a chance to go and speak up here tonight, nor at Critics' Choice, not having that moment, which I feel like if he did, that would have been so huge for final voting.
Mm-hmm.
Missing the BAFTA long list for
That's
director, which
that's
is
what it is to
insane.
me. It's like because if you have, I think what we've talked about all season is just how many spots neon can have in the international feature lineup, yes, but also in picture, and which film really is the strongest. And I think, you go with the Palme d'Or winner, you see it was just an accident. It did so well with nominations at the Globes. It stumbled at Critics' Choice a bit, but I think we expected that to rebound with the industry a little bit. I think especially around Panahi because he has really been the highlight of that campaign, but not making the BAFTA long list, I wouldn't call it a kiss of death. I mean, Ruben Östlund didn't get a BAFTA nomination and
True.
he made it in, but that's also a very European film. Very European. And
With English
I
elements.
yeah, exactly. And English speaking actors and
Yeah.
people are familiar with. And so I think when you look at it too, sentimental value I think has been appearing in more places. It was on the PGA list. That's great. It has a guild mentioned somewhere.
Yes.
But The Secret Agent feels so strong
Yeah.
to
And
me.
we talked about this back at Cannes, where
Hmm.
it's like it was just an accident, needed to be pushed extremely heavy because, I mean, listen, you know how much I love It Was Just an Accident.
Hmm.
And I love all three of these films. And I've been number one fan of sentimental value since day one, as we all know clearly on this podcast.
You are the biggest fan of the
Biggest fan.
film. Hmm.
But in hindsight, everybody at that can all figured that sentimental value was winning that palm. And it feels like
Hmm.
a Palme d'Or winner. And then Juliette Binoche said, no, my friend is winning this. You know what I mean? Which is fine. And I actually don't, I mean, like, I understand the symbolism also of it. I think it was a great moment for Panahi. I mean, my God, the man's going to be probably going back to prison here soon. Like, this is really a travesty. Also, what we're doing to him in this award season, we're just going to like not celebrate him or have him
Hmm.
at mentions here up on the stage and speak about a very vital issue that's going on with him in the turmoil in his country. But it is felt that it was just, I mean, sentimental value was the international film. And if it would have won the Palm, this would have made it 10 times easier because
Hmm.
then we would have just said, well, it's in and Joachim Trier's in and we don't have to worry about any of that. And even if it didn't get a bunch of SAG stuff, like who gives a shit, because all these other films that have been with sex, like Sandra Hüller, for
Hmm.
example, that she didn't get in, but we're talking about four actors here as opposed to one. One
Yeah.
miss, yeah, but we're talking about four, and then we're talking about the ensemble as well too, because it totally could have got that,
Yeah.
and it didn't. So it's tricky, but I just assume that it's the Palme d'Or winner, and that's what the industry is trying to say because it's the most beloved film of it. But you're right. The minute I walked out of Secret Agent, I'm like, that's gonna do well because it's flashy, it's timely, it's got a great central performance from Wagner Moura, and he won the Globe tonight, and that's a huge momentum that it's had. It's won.
On the
It's
eve of voting,
on the eve of
too.
voting. It's won two televised international prizes. It's won a Best Actor prize. Like, does it get more than its three? Does it just break in? And I think that that's a good place to talk about PGA and the mess of that. Um, it's because none of the outside of sentimental value, there were none of the other international films, but Begonia, F1, Weapons joined, sentimental value, One Battle After Another, Frankenstein, Train Dreams, Hamnet, Sinners. Am I missing one? There's one more I'm missing.
Did you say Marty Supreme?
Think so.
This is like Timmy's Critics' Choice speech. We're like, what are we missing?
What am I missing? And I say Michael B. Jordan six times. Um, but I'll look it up. But anyway, where are you looking at with that and your reaction to that? Because those populist films showed up heavily in that
Hmm.
in at the PGA, and and now we're in this turmoil because we're trying to figure out it can't just be sentimental value. There's no way it
Mm-mm.
can be that. But it doesn't feel like now we're going to have the 3 to 4 neon films get in here, which always felt like delusion in the first place.
Right.
But now there's potential to have three Warner Brothers films in this race
Hmm.
or two Focus Features films in this race.
Hmm.
Or I guess because F1 is kind of Warner Brothers adjacent with Apple, like that would mean like 3.5, 4. I don't know how you want to count that in the race. Um, what are your reactions to all this? Like the PGA kind of helped and didn't help a little bit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I was happy to see Sentimental Value here getting its first guild mention. But I think a good rule of thumb with PGA is to just think, okay, I'll take away anywhere from like two feels good, like one to two, maybe three on an off year. But then you also think back to a year like 2023 where you didn't have to replace anything. I don't think we're in a year where we don't have to replace anything because that year we had Anatomy of a Fall and The Zone of Interest in, and I think we are going to see another one pop up, especially because last year they kicked out A Real Pain and September 5 for two more critically acclaimed films in I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys, which felt like really cool nominations, very different. Certainly, I think much better than those other two that were in at PGA. And for me, I feel like here, the films that are at risk of being kicked out, first, it's F1. That just kind of feels like that possible, big technical player that could maybe not get as many number one votes, although I think it can get some technical nominations and is strong there. Unfortunately for me, because I'm not a fan of Begonia, I think Begonia's here. I think its overperformance on those BAFTA long lists I think it's here. Yorgos made the director shortlist over Guillermo del Toro and Jafar Panahi.
Yeah.
Like that just to me, I can't ignore that. So that one has to stay. And then you just start thinking, okay, well, I'm rooting for Weapons to get in. I think that would be a really cool nomination. And it's possible for me, I think that it was just an accident and The Secret Agent that are those two that are on the bubble that aren't
Or
here.
or is it one?
It could just be one. I mean, I
You
think it
know,
could just be one.
there's also Wicked for Good and Avatar Fire and Ash that sit on the outside that were kicked out, which is,
Hmm.
I mean, Wicked for Good Want to does anybody want to have the conversation? Because I remember like Carrie Mulligan leaving the station that this movie was supposed to be Return of the King, and it's missing things left and right. I
Oh,
mean,
I mean, if it can't get in at PGA,
it
there's
couldn't
no
get the SAG
way.
ensemble again.
Like this and SAG, like those are your big populist groups. Like if anyone is going to recognize Wicked for Good in a picture category, it's going to be at PGA. So for me, if Avatar and Wicked can't get in here, they can't get in a more international group like the Academy.
I think the one that actually stands a better chance to break back in is Avatar because that movie is extremely popular in foreign markets box office wise. And Big Jim is notoriously popular, and those movies are extremely popular, but it has faded, and the
Hmm.
luster critically is not there. It's not going to make as much as the second one or the first one. It's still going to make like we're saying like, oh, it's not going to make that much. It's still going to make 1.7
Oh, it's still going to make, that's a
billion.
lot of money,
That's a lot of
especially in
money.
today's box
Yeah,
office.
it's
Yeah.
like 1.7, 1.8 probably billion when it's all said and done. But it also I think that we talked about this you and I when the film was coming out and why we didn't like it as much as the last one is because
Hmm.
of time. It's there was a decade in between the first and the second, so there was still passion and everything. I think seeing a similar story 3 years later, or 4 years later, whatever it is, there's a little fatigue there. I think Weapons is getting very, very close to being in.
Hmm.
I think especially with Madigan. Yeah, I know the makeup nom not being there is going to be rough for it, but I think it might break into screenplay. I think it has an outside chance at casting. Um, and I Madigan's strong enough, and
Yeah.
Begonia is an interesting one because it's played pretty well. It's done well in the short list. It did well at SAG, getting both Jesse and Emma Stone nominated. I got nominated at the Makeup Guilds.
It's
It's
yeah,
yeah,
it's everywhere. We can't
it's done
discount
well.
it.
No,
Yeah.
the other one I would kind of say is a little vulnerable, and this one's gonna hurt. Train Dreams.
Oh yeah, for
That might
sure.
that might be a little vulnerable over the international films. Like if we're talking
Hmm.
about like what's gonna like what's gonna get more passion with this voting body? Is it a Train Dreams or is it a Secret Agent?
Right.
Is it a F1 or is it was just an accident? Is it, you know, Weapons or is it Surratt? You know,
Oh, Syrah.
because it's all over the short list for the tech
Hmm.
categories. You know, that's something to consider. I don't
Hmm.
know where I'm leaning yet on that. We have all a week to kind of dissect all that, but it will most likely here soon. We're just going to have to put it all on paper, and we're just going to have to go with our gut.
Yeah.
But okay. Last things. Any final things? We got about a week or so, and then we are going to record our final noms. Sophia, what is your biggest thing that you're nervous about and still thinking about in terms of a category or maybe two? You don't have to break them fully down, but is like kind of driving you nuts right now? Is it an acting category? Is it text? Where are you at?
Oh, Ocean Waves. Ocean Waves. I think Best Actress is really giving me a headache
Okay.
because Renata missed at SAG and we have the Kate Hudson factor. I feel like with Begonia being strong, Emma Stone is there, two-time winner. Chase Infinity being a newcomer. I feel like she's in, but I'll worry for her because I love her and that performance. It just feels very, it's like six people fighting for five spots, is how I see it in my head, which is always what makes me nervous. And I'm so curious what will happen in director because historically I'm good at predicting director, but I always have BAFTA and I don't have that this year. So I can only really, I think, glean from the long lists and Panahi and Del Toro missing there are throwing me for a loop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at the point where I'm also trying to figure out what what is too much. And what I mean is that like
Hmm.
one battle after another and Sinners have the potential on paper to break the all-time noms record. Both
Hmm.
films do. Um, Clayton Davis at Variety wrote an article. I think he gave Sinners the 15.
Yeah.
He then, uh, and then I counted 15 on one battle, and then he went. He actually in the makeup category he has like one battle at
Okay.
6. So he had so it was one battle was 14 and the other one's 15. Um, that could very well happen. My cynical ass thinks that it's not. Just because,
Hmm.
and if it's gonna happen for one, it would be one battle after another. Because if
Hmm.
we saw the BAFTA long lists, one battle after another had a record mentions there, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Record. Yep.
record.
16, I believe.
What
Yeah.
is what's the word that's just continuing to be a recurring fucking theme on this show is
Record, record,
record,
record.
record, record, record.
And it's
And
funny when people don't mention it when they're reporting on this season.
like it wins 4 globes and people are running Hamnet tonight and you're just sitting there going like, hello, it won 4 fucking Golden Globes. Like this is, it's
You know
very
what?
funny.
Maybe it's better this way. We
I
can be
guess
the
so.
the leader and the underdog.
It's just so crazy to see, to continue to see it just be doubted. I mean, we have been on this from the beginning, you and I. So this is not news to us, but I don't know. I guess the rest of these people got to still rise and shine and figure it out. It's
8:15.
I guess so. I mean,
It's
they don't know
8:15.
what time it is. Some of these people need to be called a Greyhawk 10. Oh no, that's all I'm saying. I mean,
Wait, do the
but
Oscar nominations, are they announced at 8:15? I feel like they probably are.
I feel like they are. I
We're in
feel
full director watch territory
we
now.
are. Yeah, we're getting too offhand. But that's where I'm looking at is it's like do cautiously with Sinners in one battle after another. And also, I
Hmm.
gotta say this: there's this other movie that's sneaking around there too in the top categories for the most mentions. And that's Frankenstein. And that exhibit that is going on in LA right now, this past week, has been sold out with lines around the block to seeing that thing. That movie is very popular. Has the
Hmm.
passion. I'm worried about director. The screenplays are really the thing that's starting to trick me up a little bit too. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if we're gonna have solo noms. I don't know which of
I
the
don't really
films they're
think
gonna
so
get in.
anymore. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. It's really tough to be a solo nom anymore. You got to be like the film that's winning a lot of critics prizes and a lot of direct, like a lot of those mentions. Um, you know, but we're going to talk about that. And then there's also the weird misses in editing and cinematography that every year happen that
Hmm.
are also going to need to be predicted as well too. So there's a lot to discuss, a lot still to break down. Sophia, don't worry, we're going to be fine. It's ocean waves, like you
I'm
said.
gonna worry until I see him holding the Oscar in his
It's
hand.
feeling good. But tell everybody where they can find you and all your work on the internet.
Yeah, you can find me at the Rendezvous Point on Twitter. I don't know for how much longer at Sophia_Sim, letterboxed at Sophia Sim. You can find my work, reviews, interviews, and more at AwardsWatch.
And you guys can meet me at the Primrose Path at 2300 with my hat and my gun.
Not the Primrose Path.
And also Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and Blue Sky at Ryan McQuade 77. You can find all my work at awardswatch.com. If you like podcasts, we have the Director Watch podcast. This week's episode is on Bullworth, and boy howdy did we rip that movie apart. We had Christina Yerling Biro on with us, and it was a fun episode. If you want to hear a massacre of a movie that Eric has said he likes, then you want to listen to that episode. It was pretty funny, just the how frustrated we were with it. Sophia, when was the last time you seen Bulworth? Have you seen Bulworth?
Oh, a long time ago.
Has not
Like
aged well.
COVID,
Yeah,
pre-COVID. Yeah.
it's a rough movie. It was rough to watch,
I'll have
but
to revisit.
it led to a very fun discussion. iTunes, Spotify, 5-star reviews were greatly appreciated. While you're over on the website, please sign up for the newsletter. It's the best place to get all of our news, reviews, interviews, podcasts sent to you all in one place. Next week, we will be back. We will be giving out our final Oscar predictions for the nominations before they're out on the 22nd. It's crazy that we are at this point. I'm just going to prepare you guys, listeners out there. It's probably going to be a long one because this is maybe, I say this every year, but I'm going to say this now. This is going to be the most confusing one yet. There's still a lot up in the air. The long lists are not helping too much. The guild hasn't helped yet. These winners help some, but not all the way. So it should be fun. Can't wait to record that with the gang here. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.